This is diversity in mind and in action, a journey that reminds us that true power comes not from sameness, but from the courage to be different. It is about opening your mind to new possibilities, embracing every perspective, and turning those differences into unstoppable action. If you are ready to rise above limits and create a life of purpose, then your journey begins here. You are listening to Beyond the Cover, where every book becomes a journey to transform your life. Every great movement in history has begun with a single realization: that human beings are not meant to be identical, that the richness of life is discovered when we embrace difference instead of resisting it. Look around you. The world is not painted in one color, not sung in one voice, not shaped by one culture. The mountains rise differently than the oceans move, the forests breathe differently than the deserts endure, and yet together they create the beauty of this planet. Humanity is no different. Each person carries a unique rhythm, a unique wisdom, a unique perspective that, when combined with others, creates a harmony of progress. To ignore diversity is to silence the very song of humanity. To embrace it is to unlock the infinite potential that lies within us all. But too often, difference has been treated as a threat. People are taught to fear what they do not understand, to separate themselves from what feels unfamiliar, to judge what does not look or sound like them. This fear has built walls where there should be bridges, chains where there should be freedom, silence where there should be voices. And in those moments of fear, humanity loses. We lose a chance to learn. We lose a chance to innovate. We lose a chance to grow into the fullness of what we are meant to be. The truth is simple yet powerful. Sameness is safe, but sameness is stagnant. It is diversity that drives evolution, diversity that pushes us out of comfort, diversity that demands we rise higher and think deeper. Without it, progress halts. With it, humanity ascends. When we talk about diversity in mind and in action, we are not speaking about a theory or a slogan. We are speaking about a way of life, a discipline that asks you to live awake, to live aware, and to live open. Diversity in mind means daring to think beyond the limits you were taught, daring to question your biases, daring to allow other perspectives to stretch your understanding. Diversity in action means not just appreciating differences in words, but building systems, habits, and communities where those differences thrive. It means ensuring that every voice has a seat at the table, not because it looks good on a brochure, but because you recognize that without it, the table is incomplete. Ask yourself, how many ideas have been buried because someone was told their perspective did not matter? How many innovations never saw the light because the person behind them was silenced by prejudice? How many lives have been diminished because society decided they were too different to belong? The loss is immeasurable, yet the solution is within reach, because it begins with you, with me, with each of us choosing to see difference not as division, but as possibility. Every person you encounter carries a world inside them, worlds of stories, worlds of lessons, worlds of solutions that you cannot see until you choose to listen. And when you listen, truly listen, you discover that diversity is not an obstacle. It is the key to building a future worthy of humanity. Diversity challenges us. It forces us to confront the limits of our own thinking. It pushes us to admit that we do not hold all the answers, that wisdom is not concentrated in a single voice or culture, but scattered across humanity like stars in the sky. The more stars you see, the brighter the night becomes. The more perspectives you embrace, the stronger your vision of the world grows. To embrace diversity is to humble yourself before the vastness of human experience and to say, I am willing to learn, I am willing to grow, I am willing to change. That humility is not weakness, it is strength. It is a kind of strength that builds bridges across divides, heals wounds of history, and creates possibilities for generations to come. But make no mistake, embracing diversity is not comfortable. It will ask you to unlearn. It will ask you to confront prejudice in yourself and in others. It will ask you to choose courage over silence. Because diversity in action is not passive, it is active. It is a decision to speak up when someone is silenced. It is a decision to invite voices that have been ignored. It is a decision to build systems where opportunity is not limited by skin color, gender, culture, or ability. It is the daily work of making sure that no one is left outside the circle of humanity. And this work, though difficult, is the most rewarding work you can ever do. Because when you embrace diversity, you are not just changing others. You are transforming yourself. Look around the world today. Our greatest challenges, climate change, inequality, injustice, conflict, cannot be solved by one perspective alone. They require collective wisdom. They require creativity that only diversity provides. A single mind cannot see the whole picture, but a community of minds, diverse in thought and background, can piece together solutions that are stronger, wiser, and more sustainable. This is why diversity is not just a moral responsibility. It is a practical necessity. If we want a world that survives and thrives, we need every voice, every idea, every perspective at the table. Anything less is failure. Now, pause and think about your own journey. Have you allowed yourself to remain in the safety of sameness? Do you only listen to those who confirm what you already believe? Do you only surround yourself with people who think like you, look like you, live like you? If so, you are limiting yourself, cutting yourself off from the fullness of growth. Diversity in mind is a decision to expand beyond those limits, to invite the challenge of different ideas, to welcome the friction that creates new sparks. It is a decision to say, I am not afraid of difference, because difference is a soil in which greatness grows. The danger of living without diversity in mind and in action is that we begin to shrink the world down to the size of our own experience. We begin to believe that our way is the only way, that our truth is the only truth, that our struggle is the only struggle. And when we do that, we blind ourselves. We blind ourselves to the beauty of different cultures, the wisdom of different histories, the strength of different struggles. We blind ourselves to the fact that humanity is a vast ocean, and our life is only a single drop in it. The ocean becomes shallow when we refuse to acknowledge the depth of others. But when we open ourselves to diversity, the ocean reveals its richness, its endless waves of knowledge, resilience, and possibility. Too many people live trapped in the prison of their own bias, never realizing that the keys to freedom have been around them all along in the form of other human beings. The key to creativity lies in the artist whose life experience is unlike yours. The key to justice lies in the voices of those long silenced. The key to progress lies in the scientist, the thinker, the dreamer whose background does not match yours, but whose insight can illuminate paths you never knew existed. When you shut them out, you lock yourself in. But when you welcome them, you expand your world beyond imagination. Think about the problems that seem impossible to solve today. Poverty, inequality, prejudice, climate crisis, division. These are not issues that will be solved by repeating the same thinking that created them. They require new visions, new strategies, new courage. They require diversity. The farmer may see the world differently than the engineer. The poet may see solutions that the politician cannot. The child may imagine possibilities that the adult has forgotten. This is the power of diversity in mind and in action. It allows us to weave together the strengths of many into a fabric that no single thread could create. But here lies the challenge. Embracing diversity means confronting discomfort. It means recognizing that sometimes you are wrong, that your perspective is limited, that you do not know everything. It means allowing yourself to feel challenged, to feel stretched, to feel vulnerable. Many resist this because it is easy to stay comfortable, to stay surrounded by sameness, to stay in the echo of familiar voices. But comfort is the enemy of growth. And if you are serious about rising to your fullest potential, you must walk willingly into discomfort. You must let difference teach you. You must let diversity reshape you. Ask yourself, what do you fear about difference? Is it the fear of losing control? The fear of being wrong? The fear of facing truths you would rather ignore? Whatever it is, know this. Fear is a barrier meant to be broken. On the other side of that fear lies strength. On the other side of that fear lies wisdom. On the other side of that fear lies the person you are meant to become. Diversity is not here to destroy you. It is here to complete you. It is here to unlock the parts of yourself that sameness never could. Look at the moments in history when humanity has leapt forward. They were not born from uniformity. They were born from collision. Collision of ideas, collision of cultures, collision perspectives. The Renaissance was fueled by diversity of art, science, and philosophy. Civil rights movements were powered by diverse voices standing together against injustice. Scientific breakthroughs emerged when people from different fields combined their knowledge. Every great advancement was a result of people daring to step outside the safety of sameness and into the richness of diversity. If history teaches us anything, it is that progress belongs to the brave, and bravery is found in those who embrace difference. Diversity in action is more than inviting people into the room. It is listening to them. It is valuing them. It is creating structures where they can flourish, not just survive. A seat at the table means nothing if the voice is ignored. Inclusion is not about numbers. It is about power, about making sure that every person has a chance to shape the world they live in. When we fail to do this, we waste human potential on a massive scale. But when we succeed, we unlock the kind of power that changes nations, heals communities, and inspires generations. And you, listening now, you are part of this story. You are not separate from the movement toward diversity. You are a critical piece of it. Every choice you make either strengthens the walls of division or builds the bridges of connection. Every action you take either silences voices or amplifies them. Every decision you make either limits humanity's potential or expands it. You do not need to wait for governments or organizations to act. You can live diversity in your daily life. You can choose to listen when you would rather ignore. You can choose to learn when you would rather dismiss. You can choose to connect when you would rather withdraw. These small choices add up to great change. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you fully embraced diversity in mind and in action. Imagine the growth you would experience if you let yourself learn from every person you met, no matter how different they were from you. Imagine the wisdom you would gain if you listened deeply to the struggles and triumphs of others. Imagine the strength you would develop if you stood for those who are often silenced. That is a life diversity offers you, a life of expansion, of strength, of wisdom, of courage, a life where you do not just exist in your own small bubble, but where you tap into the vast collective power of humanity. The truth is, greatness has never belonged to those who stayed small. It has always belonged to those who dared to expand, to stretch, to embrace the fullness of life. Diversity is the path to that greatness, and it is waiting for you here and now to choose it. If you want to know the true measure of strength, do not look at how loudly someone can shout their own truth. Look at how deeply they can listen to the truth of another. Listening is one of the purest forms of embracing diversity. It is not passive, it is powerful. When you listen without judgment, you give someone the gift of being seen, of being valued, of being human. And when you listen deeply, you also give yourself a gift, the gift of new understanding, new wisdom, new perspective. The world is filled with voices waiting to be heard, but too many are drowned out by the noise of ignorance and arrogance. Silence your assumptions for a moment and open your ears. You will discover a world you never knew existed, a world that can expand your mind and transform your life. Diversity is not about erasing identity. It is about celebrating it. It is not about making everyone the same. It is about creating a space where everyone can be their fullest self without fear. Real strength does not come from conformity. It comes from authenticity. And when people are free to bring their full selves into the world, they shine brighter, they contribute more, they inspire others. Imagine a community where no one has to hide, where no one has to shrink, where no one has to pretend to fit in. Imagine the brilliance that would burst forth in such a world. That is the promise of diversity. Yet promise without action is empty. And so we must commit, not just in words, but in deeds. Commitment means questioning our own comfort, asking ourselves where we have excluded others, and having the courage to change. It means speaking up when silence is easier, standing firm when a crowd turns away, and extending your hand even when fear tells you to hold back. Diversity in action is not about convenience. It is about conviction. And conviction is tested in the hardest moments, when you risk something, when you stand alone, when you choose principle over popularity. That is when your commitment to diversity is proven real. Do not think your actions are too small to matter. The world is built on small actions multiplied by millions of people. A word of encouragement to someone who feels out of place. An invitation to a voice often ignored. A decision to learn about a culture unfamiliar to you. These moments may seem small, but they ripple outward, inspiring others, changing perspectives, and slowly reshaping the fabric of society. Never underestimate the power of a single act of inclusion. It can light a fire that burns far beyond what you can see. The future of humanity depends on what we choose to do with diversity. We can either continue to fear it, resist it, and allow division to tear us apart, or we can embrace it, celebrate it, and allow it to make us stronger. The path we choose will determine the kind of world our children inherit. Do you want them to inherit a world of walls or a world of bridges? A world of fear or a world of courage? A world of silence or a world of voices? The choice is not abstract. It is real, and it begins with you. Look at yourself honestly. What prejudices do you hold? What voices have you ignored? What opportunities to embrace diversity have you let pass by? Do not be ashamed of the answers. Awareness is a first step to change. The second step is action. Commit yourself today to listening more deeply, to standing more bravely, to living more inclusively. This is not about perfection. It is about progress. No one person can change the world alone, but each person can take a step. And when enough of us take steps, the world moves. Diversity in mind and in action is not a destination you arrive at once and for all. It is a lifelong journey, a daily discipline, a continuous expansion. Every day brings you new opportunities to live it more fully, to grow more deeply, to shine more brightly. And the more you live it, the more the world changes around you, because diversity is contagious. When you show acceptance, others are inspired to do the same. When you create space for voices, others follow your example. When you stand against division, others find the courage to join you. Your life becomes a beacon, a signal that says, here, all are welcome. Here, all belong. Here, humanity rises together. So let me ask you now, will you play small, confined to narrowness of sameness, or will you rise into the vastness of diversity? Will you shrink back in fear, or will you step forward in courage? Will you live for yourself alone, or will you live in a way that lifts others with you? The choice is yours. But remember, the legacy you leave will not be written only in what you achieve for yourself. It will be written in how you treated others, how you value them, how you help them rise. That is the measure of a life well lived. The time for excuses is over. The time for waiting is over. The time for division is over. The world does not need more fear. It needs more courage. It does not need more sameness. It needs more difference. It does not need more silence. It needs more voices. And those voices include yours. Do not hold back. Do not hide. Step into the fullness of who you are, and in doing so, invite others to do the same. That is how we create a future worthy of us all. Remember this truth. Diversity is not just about others. It is about you. It is about who you become when you choose to embrace it. It is about the strength you build, the wisdom you gain, the courage you live. It is about living a life that is bigger than yourself, a life that reaches across divides, a life that leaves a world better than you found it. And that life is within your grasp, waiting for you to choose it. So choose it now. Choose to think with diversity in mind. Choose to live with diversity in action. Choose to rise. Because when humanity embraces its differences, it discovers its destiny. And that destiny is greatness. Every step begins with a thought. Every change begins with action. Keep this fire alive. Keep moving forward. And never forget, the strength of diversity lies within you. This is just the beginning. Until next time, you are listening to Beyond the Cover.